What's up, YouTube? Two Moose here. Here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10, 20, and 30 this week. Alright, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary, we of course got Kick Ass 2, which of course, Kick Ass 2 was a follow. Well, I had to. Sound like I messed up something here. Alright, much better. Alright, as I was saying, Kick Ass 2 was of course a follow to 2010's Kick Ass movie, which I enjoyed that first Kick Ass. Directed by Matthew Vaughn, was a movie that I guess you could say really broke out, broke out with Aaron Taylor Johnson, Chloe Moretz, Nicolas Cage was great. Then of course they did a sequel directed by Jeff Wallow, who would go on to direct not so good horror movies like Truth or Dare and Fantasy Island. He's still rumored to do the upcoming Magic 8 Ball movie, but that's that's gonna be. Of course, you had Jim Carrey in this, and you know what? What's nowhere near as good as the first Kick-Ass movie. I still had a fun time with this. I mean, I guess I would admit that big problem about the film was to miss out was pretty much not including not having Nicolas Cage back. This movie was definitely missing Nicolas Cage's Big Daddy character. Now, if you guys don't know much about the sequel to this, it is the sequel to 2010's Kick-Ass, and it follows Dave Lizowicki slash Kick-Ass, played by Johnson, who joins a vigilante team called Justice Forever, while Mindy, aka Hit Girl, attempts to live a normal life. And Chris D'Amico, played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse, is taking up the mantle of the MF word, which I'm not going to repeat, and forming a supervillain to take revenge on Kick-Ass. And this movie is hands down awesome. I still enjoy it. It's definitely had some fun moments to it. It's really entertaining. I wish we got a Kick-Ass 3, but I don't think that's ever happening. But yeah, I just adore the sequel. So if you guys haven't seen it, give it a go. Like I said, no one near as good as the first film, but it's still a fun, entertaining one. So not a bad sequel here. All right. Also turning 10, we got Lee Daniels' The Butler, which is loosely based on the real life of Eugene Allen, who worked in the White House for decades. The film stars Forrest Whitaker as Cecile Gaines, an African American who is a witness of notable political and social events of the 20th century during his 34-year tenure serving as a White House butler. And it features a terrific group of cast. You had the likes of John Cusack playing Richard Nixon. You had Alan Rickman as Ronald Reagan. You had Robin Williams as Roosevelt. You also had Lenny Kravitz, Elijah Wood, uh, David Oyelowo, Terrence Howard, Cuba Gooding Jr. Uh, I mean, talk about a terrific cast here. Directed by Lee Daniels, directed stuff like Precious. He's done some really terrific stuff there. I thought Forrest Whitaker was amazing in this movie. It did actually got a couple of controversies, I remember, but I still thought this movie was completely shut out the Oscars, by the way. Like, I remember predicting the Oscars in 2023 or 2013. I literally thought this movie would have been Best Picture consideration. Forrest Whitaker would have got nominated for Best Actor. Oprah Winfrey would have got some Oscar love. Nope, that did not happen. And Oprah Winfrey, by the way, was great in this movie. I mean, before this, it was a while since Oprah Winfrey actually starred in the film. And obviously, when you think of Oprah Winfrey, you always think of like her being a talk show host, her giving out cars to everyone and everything. But take that aside, she could act pretty well. She was great in this. Obviously, The Color Purple, she was great in. I think Oprah Winfrey is always terrific, even outside being a talk show circuit. So, yeah, and she was amazing in this. She played, of course, Forrest Whitaker's wife. She really played her part well. Terrence Howard was great in this movie. I mean, if you guys never seen The Butler, it's really cool. Lee Daniels, The Butler. But if you guys never seen it, go watch it. I mean, I didn't never knew anything about Cecile before I saw this movie, and it literally made me want to check out more about. And yeah, it's a really magnificent film. And you had James Marsden as JFK. I mean, talk about a great cast here. All right, also turning 10, we got another biopic movie, which is the Steve Jobs movie called Jobs. Not to confuse with the biopic Jobs movie that got released back with Michael Fassbender. Not to be confused with that one. This one, of course, was released in 2013, starring Ashton Kutcher as the role of Steve Jobs. And you also had the likes of Josh Gad as Steve Wozniak. You had Lucas Haas, James Woods, J.K. Simmons, Dermot Mulroney. You know, this movie did not really get much love at the time, and I would admit it's not a great film at all. Ashton Kutcher, by the way, was terrific as Steve Jobs. I'm sorry, I just thought he was really amazing. I mean, he definitely looked like a very young Steve Jobs. He really had that Steve Jobs look to him. And I mean, Michael Fassbender probably played the role a little better, but Ashton Kutcher really nailed it here. I mean, obviously not many people are really a fan of Ashton Kutcher for some other reason, but this was actually one of his better performances in recent years, and he really nailed it. So yeah, not a bad performance here. It's a shame that it did not really get talked about much, but all right. Also turning 10, we got a movie that is not so good, and that is Paranoia. Directed by Robert Lunatic, who gave us Legally Blonde. Here are the cast list here. We're talking Liam Hemsworth, Gary Oldman, Harrison Ford, Amber Heard, which, yeah, that's problematic right now. I believe, yeah, Richard Dreyfuss was in this. You would expect a thriller with two high level actors like Gary Oldman and Harrison Ford to be terrific. Wah, wah. This was also the movie that made me go, yeah, I don't think Liam Hemsworth is really ready to be a lead actor. I mean, he just was not all that great in this film. Amber Heard, I mean, I don't mind Amber Heard as an actress. She could be a hit and miss as an actress. I'm not saying as a person. Like, what Amber Heard does in her personal life, whatever, is her stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't really follow her as a person, which now, yeah, that's always problematic now. But yeah, even she was great in this. I mean, if you don't know much about Paranoia, it's where like an entry level employee at a powerful corporation finds himself occupying a corner office, but at a dangerous price, he must spy on the boss's old mentor to secure him for a multi-billion-dollar advantage. And yeah, this was just terrible. It did not have a great script. The performances wasn't great. I mean, how do you have a movie with two high level stars like Gary Oldman and Harrison Ford, and it's this bad? Yeah, this movie is just a dumpster fire, and yeah. All right, now films turning 20. We of course got Freddy versus Jason, directed by Ronnie Yu, who of course beforehand directed Bride of Chucky, so we definitely had a slasher experience. Of course, this time around we had both Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees against each other. Freddy is of course weakened and forgotten because the citizens of his hometown, Springwood, had to feed him by using medications that repress dreams, and Freddy awakens Jason to stir up fear and grows his powers so that he may return and kill again. And holy cow. Say what you want. Who knows who won that fight? We never know if Jason won, Freddy. I mean, of course we do see Jason, spoiler by the way. We of course do see Jason come out the water, and we of course see him with Freddy Krueger's head, and he winks. Like, I never understood that as an indication that he's dead or not. They were always supposed to do a sequel to this, which I don't know why they never done it. It did pretty well in the box office. Let me see. Freddy versus Jason box office. It made out 116.6 million. Did well, and there was also even a rumor about them doing Freddy versus Jason versus Ash with Bruce Campbell. That would have been awesome. Seeing like Freddy Krueger with Ash Williams, that would have been a dream come true right there. But yeah, this is a really fun one. I mean, it is pretty gory. It's very entertaining. Seeing both two horror icons just go at it is insane to watch. And of course, if you guys know, this technically was the last time we saw Robert Englund as Freddy on screen. Unless if you count his cameo as Freddy on the Goldbergs, but I'll talk about on the big screen and stuff like that. But Yeah, just saying this is such a really fun one. Jason was, of course, played by famed wrestler Ken Krasinga, I think his name is. But yeah, I've always liked Freddy vs. Jason. It's such a really fun one. It's just super entertaining. It's just a movie that does not really. I mean, it gets talked about, but it has some of its fans, and there are some people who not fan of it. But I'm one of the fans of that. All right. Other films turning 20, we got Uptown Girl, directed by Bose Ogden and starring the late great Brittany Murphy. You also had Dakota Fanning, Helen Locklear, Molly Shelton, Donna Faison. He's also in Kick-Ass too, so we got like two Donna Faison movies in this list in this video. Jesse Spencer, and we got to know much about Uptown Girls. It stars Brittany Murphy as a 22-year-old living in a charmed city life as the daughter of a famous rock and roll, who actually, of course, and of course, she ends up having to take pretty much take care of this girl of this billionaire and this daughter of a billionaire here, and Uptown Girl does not really get talked about, but I've always thought this movie was pretty charming. Like I've always loved the chemistry between Brittany Murphy and Dakota Fanning. I mean, I remember when like Brittany Murphy first passed. Dakota Fanning, of course, made some really nice comments about the passing of Murphy. Man, Brittany Murphy gone way too soon, by the way. I mean, I remember Brittany Murphy was like such a it girl back in the days, with stuff like Clueless, Girls Interrupted, and all. It's such a shame, she passed at a very young age. I believe age 29, if I'm not mistaken. But I've always adored Brittany Murphy, and this is actually one of my favorite roles of hers. Like her chemistry with Dakota Fanning, you could really buy it. It's really funny. It's really heartfelt. Jesse Spencer as like the rock and roll star, who's like Brittany Murphy's love interest, is really good. Hale Locklear was pretty fun in this. Really terrific love film if you guys ever seen it. All right, also turning 20, we got American Splendor, which is directed by Sherry Springer Berman and Robert Palucci, who also directed The Nanny Diaries a couple years ago. And it stars Paul Giamatti and a young Josh Hutcherson. And here's what it's about. The film is a biopic about Harvey Pecker, the author of American Splendor comic book series, which is hybrid production featuring live action actors, documentary, and animation here. And it's a really good film. I mean, of course, I can say this was a movie that really put Paul Giamatti on the map for most people. He played he gave such a good performance here. Of course, the young Josh Hutcherson, which I believe this was his first feature, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. You also had Hope Davis was also in this. Uh, Molly Shannon, Donna Logue, who of course was in Gotham. Uh, I believe he played Harvey Bullock in Gotham, if I'm not mistaken. Really good film. Really good performances here. This was actually the director's first feature, so they did a great job with their directorial debut in this. So, really good film if you guys haven't seen it. All right, also turning 20 is the Western Open Range, which stars as and is directed by Kevin Costner. And here's what's about. A former gunslinger is forced to take up arms again when he and his cattle crew are threatened by a corrupt woman. It stars a really good cast that includes Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall, Annette Bening, Dumbledore himself, Micah Gambon, the second one that is, Micah Jeter, of course, Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World, by the way, Diego Luna, Dee McDermott, and Kim Coates. And this is a really decent western. I mean, I admit, I actually prefer this over Dances with Wolves. Yeah, if I have to choose between Dances with Wolves and Open Range, I'm choosing Open Range. I think this was a better directorial effort by Kevin Costner. He has another western coming out sometime next year that sounds interesting. I mean, I've always liked Kevin Costner, and he was really good in this. Like, I love the cast list. Definitely feels like those classic John Wayne, Sergio Leone western movies. It's a really decent one if you guys haven't seen this one. All right, also turning 20, we got the skateboarding film Grind, which stars Mike Vogel, Adam Brody, Joey Kern, and it is about these 14 teenage aspiring amateurs skaters trying to make it in the world of pro skateboarding by pulling insane stunts in front of their pro skater idol. And it was actually not a bad film. I mean, it was a critical flop, but and I guess you could say this was the movie that put Adam Brody on the map. I believe this was his first feature, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. Um, but hey, I do love a good skateboarding film, whether it's lots of Dogtown, Skate Kitchen, mid '90s was a pretty good one. So this is actually a really decent little film if you guys haven't seen it. All right, also turning 30. I just talked about Freddy versus Jason, right? Also turning 30 is another Jason movie, and that is pretty much the last Jason movie we had before Freddy vs. Jason, and that was Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday the 13th. The final Friday, that is. And I believe, yeah, this was actually the ninth installment of the Friday the 13th franchise, and is a sequel to Jason Takes Manhattan, which I always have a fun time with, by the way. And the film takes place after the events of Jason Takes Manhattan and follows Jason's spirit as it possesses various people to continue his killing after his death. To resurrect himself, Jason must find and possess a member of his bloodline, but he can also be permanently killed by one of his surviving relatives using a magical dagger. I've always adored the Friday the 13th movies. You know, I've always had a fun time with this. Jason is one of my favorite horror icons of all time. I even like Jason Takes Manhattan, and I actually have a soft spot for the remake. I don't care what anyone says. The remake was awesome. I will defend the remake for as long as I live. But if I have to choose the film that is maybe the worst out of the Friday the 13th franchise, this is one of them. I was never a fan of Jason Goes to Hell. I know it has its fans, and there's even rumors about possible sequel being written. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know when we're ever going to see Jason back on screen again. I mean, with like the strikes going on, who knows when we're going to see that TV show coming? With of course the legal battle with Jason, who knows what's going to happen to that? But yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. I just was never a fan of that. Like I said, it has its fans, but like the whole spirit stuff, I thought was really dumb. Was a tad bit boring. I mean, it didn't have as good kills as the other Friday the 13th movies did. Like, this is just one of the few Friday the 13th movies I just was never a fan of, and I could never get into. So, yeah, like I said, I know it has its fans, but yeah, lots of people have their worst Friday the 13th movies. I have mine, and that is Jason Goes to Hell. So, yeah. I mean, this actually did have some cool things going for it. Like, some of the cast members. Let me see. Jason Goes to Hell cast. I mean, I had a cast list. Like, of course, Kane Hodder as Jason, Stephen Williams, who else was in this one? Aaron Gray, Stephen Colt, Carrie Kingan. Oh yeah, Leslie Jordan was also in this. There's that too. I mean, yeah, it has a good cast members, just not that great of a film, and yeah, I just can never recommend this one. All right, other films turning 20. We of course got Searching for Bobby Fischer, which is directed by Steven Zellin and stars Pomeranik, along with Joe McNenna, Joan Allen, Sir Ben Kingsley, and Lawrence Fishburne. And it's based on the life of prodigy chess player Joshua Wozniak, played by Pomeranik, and adapted from the book of the same name. And it's a really touching film. I mean, we don't really get much chess movies. Maybe like where they talk about Queen of Cotway, or maybe was that Tobey Maguire film? That Bobby Fischer movie he also did. Pawn Sacrifice, I think it's called. Got some really interesting chess movies, and this is maybe one of the better chess movies we've ever had. It's really touching. It's heartfelt. You know, Sir Ben Kingsley and Lawrence Fishburne both in this was pretty good. So not a bad flick if you guys haven't seen that. All right. Also turning 30, we got The Secret Garden, which is based on a classic family novel of the same name by Frances Hodgkin Burnett, about a young girl who is sent to live with her uncle's forbidding Victorian manor, discovers an invalid cousin and a garden that has fallen him disrepair. As the two children make sure their secret place, they uncover wonder, power, and magic within the garden. Now, this also featured the likes of Maggie Smith was also in this, some other interesting cast members. They also did a new version with Colin Firth, which I have still never really seen, but I heard mixed things about. But the '93 version is really charming. Really good cast members. The two girls I thought always thought had good chemistry for one another. The magic aspect was pretty good. I mean, this was pretty much Harry Potter before the Harry Potter movies ever happened. So, yeah, cute little film. You guys haven't seen that. All right. Also trying 30, we got Hot and So, directed by City Slickers and Tremors director Ron Underwood, and stars Robert Downey Jr., um, Eric Lloyd, who of course you might know as a Charlie from the Santa Claus, Kira Sedgwick, Charles Grodin, Alfred Woodard, Tom Sizemore, B.B. King, and Elizabeth Shue. In the film, it stars Robert Downey Jr. as Thomas Raleigh, a businessman recruited by the souls of four deceased people, his guardian angels from childhood, to help them ratify their unfinished lives, as he is the only one who can commute with them. And this is actually a really decent little film. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., of course, obviously before the Iron Man phase and everything, was pretty much one of the most high. He's wasn't as high grossing as he is now, but he of course been some really decent stuff in the '80s and '90s, and this was one of them. It was really fun. It's really touching. Seeing BB King pop up in this was interesting to see. So really decent flick. And Ron Underwood, that's a director I have not heard of in years. I mean, of course I believe he had his career ruined thanks to Pluto Nash, but yeah, I cannot remember the last time he's done a film. Let me Ron Underwood movies wiki. Of course, he did City Slickers, which is pretty decent. Pluto Nash, yeah, we don't talk about that. Just like Bruno, we don't talk about Pluto Nash. Uh, oh yeah, the last movie he did was that Usher movie, In the Mix. So yeah, he's done like TV credits and everything. But yeah, his recent TV stuff was Evil, Tales of the Walking Dead, La Brea, Big Shot. He did. Boy, his career really stumbled after Pluto Nash. Like his last movie was In the Mix with Usher. So, uh, hey, I guess you can't make it big all the time. Anyway, last but not least, turning on 30, we got Woody Allen's The Manhattan Murder Mystery, which is a black comedy mystery film and centers on a married couple's investigation of the death of their neighbor's wife. And it's also a really terrific cast. Of course, this is directed by Woody Allen, which we already know. Woody Allen's name alone is controversial, but take the controversy aside, Woody Allen has made some really decent stuff. Going all the way back to Annie Hall, Manhattan, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, Blue Jasmine. He's done some really terrific films. Like he may be a Chuan's creep and all that, but yeah, and Manhattan Project has a really terrific cast. We're talking Diane Keaton, Woody Allen, Alan Alda, Angelica Houston, Lynn Cohen, Joe Bayar, a very young Zach Braff, Jerry Adler. Talk about a terrific cast here. I mean, this is a really terrific film. I mean, it was of course Woody Allen's homage to Agatha Christie tales and everything. Really, I love the cast list. I mean, this was pretty much Only Murders in the Building before or Only Murders in the Building became popular. This was pretty much the only Murders in the Building of the '90s. Granted, it was a movie, not a series, but still. But it is a really decent film worth checking out. Great cast of I mean, this is maybe one of Woody Allen's most underappreciated films, in my opinion. So, if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But let me ask you guys, which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one is going to go to Kick Ass 2. I like the Butler, but I just enjoy Kick Ass 2 a lot. The 20-year one, I'm going to go with Freddy versus Jason. And definitely not Jason Goes to Hell. The one that stands out to me the most in the 30-year one will actually be Woody Allen's The Manhattan Murder Mystery. That's actually the better film on that list. But anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon signing.